Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Natalie Cutler-Welsh here. I'm super excited to welcome you back to what I believe is the 4th episode of the Up Your Brave live stream panel series that I started doing pretty much in the middle of lockdown here in New Zealand. Now, this is something I'm hoping that globally people can tap into. What we're collectively aiming to do is really raise the state of resilience, health, and happiness on a global level. And so what I'm doing is shoulder tapping a couple of my amazing friends. And today the topic we're featuring is resilience in business. So in the past, we've done episodes for parents. We've done supporting teens and tweens, supporting kids through challenging times. We also did leadership. We've got a whole bunch more coming up. But today it's for the business people or the people that are entrepreneurial minded. We're really going to dive in to how you can stay resilient, not just right now during the seriously crazy times, but anytime. So I'd love to introduce you to my guests. Let's go and bring them in. Here they are. How cool is that? So first of all, we have Natalie Sisson. You may know her previously as the suitcase entrepreneur. Now she helps people get paid to be who they are. And she talks a lot about the future of work. Hey, Natalie, amazing to have you here.
So good to be here. Thanks, Nat.
Coming at us from Wellington, I believe.
Somewhere beautiful near there.
Then we also have Malaine Lea. Now, Malaine and I met on a mastermind group that we were on online, and we actually didn't meet in person until many, many months down the road when I interviewed her from my Impact Entrepreneurs series. Well, she's back now. She talks all about wealth and mindset coaching. Good to have you here, Malaine.
So good to be here. Thanks for having me, Nat.
I love the little sneak peek into your bedroom. How fun. And then we're going to go to Grant Feiner. Now, Grant and I, we were probably, I imagine, connected on LinkedIn well before we met. And we met at a B1G1 event, which is buy one, give one. And it's all a concept of social giving internationally. I'm excited to dive more into what Grant has to know. I would describe him as like the nicest guy. Like every time I see Grant, he's just got this smile on his face. He's got a wealth of knowledge and a massive background in business, but you'd never know because he's like super humble. Good to have you here, Grant.
Yeah, good morning, Nat. It's great to be on. Thanks a lot for having me and looking forward to the discussion today.
Yay, cool. Okay, well, hey, let's dive in. So the way that I like to roll is we go into the topic. I'm going to go to Natalie. Natalie, if we can start with you with a little bit more of an intro or bio on yourself in terms of resilience. And then if you can share with us one tip that you've got with business owners for remaining resilient during this time. You're unmuted.
Here we go. Sorry, I don't know how other people are doing right now. Like I'm definitely keeping an eye on it, but I know for some people they're absolutely in survival mode. And for others, like me, I'm really thriving right now. And I feel super lucky and privileged to have built a business that is resilient right now. So there are multiple revenue streams to it. I'm not reliant on one thing. And I'm just really, really glad for that because in the past, this would definitely have affected me more. So from a resilience point of view, my best tip for both myself and others is to deal with what you can actually control. That's within your control right now. Like right now, it's so fascinating to see how much of what's happening is completely outside of our control. And if you are doing things related to things that you can't control at all, it's going to make you feel pretty overwhelmed, pretty lost, pretty scared, pretty panicky and anxious, to be honest. And I think when this first started, I don't know about the other lovely experts on here, but I was like, oh my God, like what the heck is going to happen? What does this mean? What do we need to do? And you kind of get into this place of not knowing because there's so much uncertainty versus when I got back to our home and we're in lockdown, I just focused on the things that were immediately within my hands, within my capability, and within my resources to actually focus on, which for me was turning up and serving my community the best that I could right now. And I think it's that having a sense of control with what's in your own backyard is going to give you a lot more resilience to deal with all the stuff out there that you actually don't have any handle over. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point because it's so easy to fall into the what ifs, right? What if this, what if that? But so you're saying really focus on what you can do and what you can control. So crucial. Hey, hi, shout out to Tracy Murray who's joining us. For those of you that are watching live or watching on the replay, I'd love to know geographically where you're watching from. So if you're happy to share, comment with that. And also I'd love to know what business you're in. If you may or may not know, my business is Go To Girl Limited. And originally it really started because what I do is connect people. So, hey, this is a great time for networking too. So go ahead and let us know what your business is or your area of expertise. You can even pop a link. We don't mind. It's always an opportunity to connect with amazing people. So go ahead and do that, Tracy, or anyone else that's watching. Okay, well, Malaine, we'll go to you for your first tip about remaining resilient, and a little bit of background too. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I love what Natalie just shared. And, you know, a little background is I've been in my own business for the past 5 years, and getting into my business was really because I felt called to not only have the resiliency to have, you know, be able to do my own thing, but also to really serve an area that I saw was being underserved, which was women in the workforce that weren't stepping up and asking for the value of what they were worth, right? I see so many women out there that are working a 9-to-5 or a corporate job that are just not getting paid their value or their worth. And I really saw that gap. And it was kind of one of those things where you're walking along the street and you see a piece of trash on the ground. You're like, oh, someone should really pick that up. And I saw that, you know, gap in the world. And I was like, someone should really do something about that. And I decided, well, I got to stop saying that there's someone that should do something and be that someone that does something, right? Be that someone that steps in and fills the gap. So what I do is I support primarily women in stepping into their self-worth and their value so that they can increase their net worth. And if that looks like creating their own business, creating multiple streams of income, you know, staying in the 9-to-5, but having multiple streams, whatever that looks like, but really owning their self-worth and their self-value. And so my one tip today is staying in solution. You know, I think that there's so much uncertainty right now, right? And there's an easy trap to fall into, which is the fear that's being pumped through society right now, right? And so it's really getting clear on, firstly, unplugging from the different, you know, networks or different areas that might be filling you with fear, and plugging yourself into a space of solution, right? And so, you know, for me, what does that look like in my business? It means, okay, well, how can I be of service to the world right now? What do I have to offer that can support people in this time of need, right? And so that means getting a little bit more agile or flexible with my offerings. So, for example, I had a few things down the pipeline that have completely changed because they're not in alignment with what the audience needs right now and how I can best be of service to them. You know, I, like Natalie, and, you know, I'm excited to hear what he has to say too. I'm super blessed and lucky that I have an online business and I have multiple streams of income. But because I'm so lucky and blessed, I'm sharing those tips and tools with so many of my tribes so that they have that solution. So I think it's very easy to fall into fear, to fall into, you know, oh my God, what am I going to do? There's, you know, nothing out there. Instead, getting into a solution-minded way of thought and just asking yourself, what can I do to nourish myself today, to nourish my income today, to nourish my finances today? What action can I take in a new direction and take full ownership and responsibility of my life?
Yes, completely. And I know because I've done your program, I did your money mindset program, and you've got so many good things around sending love to the things you love doing, and rather than getting overwhelmed by what you can't do. I love that both of you also acknowledge that both of you, and myself as well, probably Grant, I know he's super busy, right? I've been like, oh my God, this is my time. I help people to be visible and online and be confident and to pivot, right? Whereas other people, we have to acknowledge, other people will be feeling really the extreme emotions where they're like, what can I do? And all the overwhelm that comes in. So I think it's so important to acknowledge that everyone's different along the spectrum. So I wanted to do a big shout out to, we've got Rich Ellis watching from Auckland North Shore. We've got Ellie Bambury, hoping to have Ellie on an upcoming episode when I'm going to feature supporting teens again. What a hot topic. But this is interesting because how people are being resilient in business trickles down to their family, if they have family, their flatmates, their partners, because that fear, as you mentioned, can really, it can either grow or it can slow, right? Depending on how you're handling it. So let's hope that people are going to get some actionable things they can do today and also take action on them. That is the key, definitely. All right, let's go to Grant, a little bit more backstory on you and all the things you've done, and then your first tip. And by the way, what a gorgeous day at the park. You must be having a beautiful time.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. I was really fortunate in the day immediately before lockdown. I was able to get out and get a few pictures of things that reminded me of the things that I like to do day to day so that I could stay in touch with them over the course of the last month. I don't know how you guys feel. Sometimes I feel like the last month has really dragged just like crazy. And then other times I feel like it's just gone in a flick. And here we are with just one additional week left to go to make sure that when we all head back to work, we're going to do so in a fashion that's going to be safe for everyone. So, guys, my background, I'm very fortunate to be the principal connector in a business group, a group called Business Strategy Networking, founded on Meetup. Today, there's more than 5,500 community members in that group who get together on a regular basis to share networking tips, to get together with business and to share ideas and learn from each other as all businesses grow together. The foundation for the group is all about the principle that, and for all of us as business owners, if we want to grow, the best and really the only way to be able to grow our business is to do that together by making great connections and sharing expertise so that all businesses are able to rise on the same tide. So really excited to be here as a part of that. And I've been privileged to be able to share and talk with many of our members over how they have reacted over the past few weeks and all about resilience in general. And I got a few tips, but the first one that I wanted to talk about was this idea of pivoting fast. Business Strategy Networking is an events business, and up until the end of March, we were running generally 5 to 6 events per month, generally attracting between 50 and sort of 80 to 100 people, and then communicating with an extended network of people throughout that. And of course, that came to a crashing halt right at the end of March there. And so all of a sudden, we needed to figure out how we could continue to engage with the community, even though we weren't going to be able to get together physically and so for a while. So pivoting fast is all about figuring out 3 things. The first thing is, what in your business at the moment are you doing that you need to continue? It's already up and running, things are going, and it's really important, and you can continue it because it's an element which maybe doesn't rely on whatever part of the business is being disrupted. For us, that was the digital side of our business around member profiles, and other types of things. The second area is what do you need to change or redefine? And so how can you change your existing services, or maybe change the data that feeds those services into a different type of product or solution that will enable your business to continue to attract customers, continue to trade and generate cash flow, even though your primary business has been disrupted. And in our case, that was moving from in-person events to virtual events running online, just like this one. And then the third one was what needs to hibernate. So what is there that you just simply can't change that is going to be a drain if you continue to support it through this time? You've got a period of time within which things will finish up. So what is there that you can do to hibernate those things? They might be costs, lease arrangements, subscriptions, other types of things that you can reactivate again on the far side of when your business needs to be resilient. So that's sort of my first thing is pivot fast, figure out what you need to change, maintain, or hibernate, and go ahead with those plans.
Yes, love it so much. And I just did a post the other day. I love my word swag. So I made this really cute image, and it was all about if you don't love it, don't do it. And this is a great time, right, for people to pause, reflect, reconnect with what they're actually doing. Because I think, as you guys know, I talk a lot about the should zone and the frustration zone. So I feel like a lot of people generally live in I should be doing more Facebook Lives. I should start a podcast. They live in that should zone or the frustration zone where they're like, oh my God, why are my clients always, this, that, and the other? And it's actually, this is a great time to pause, to reflect, reconnect with what you genuinely want to be doing. But like you said, Grant, what is also actually serving you? And like Malaine highlighted, what is actually needed right now? Like some of the things she said she was going to do, maybe she's hibernating that, And it's really interesting. And I love the way, Grant, you have pivoted so fast. Some people would have been overwhelmed. They'd be like, oh my God, I'm in events. What am I going to do? But you took action. And I think that is really the key, is seeing the opportunity and taking action is super, super key. Hey, I'm going to just go to the audience at the moment. Does anyone have a question at this point before we do another round on tip number 2? Does anyone have anything specific that they want to ask any of the guests, or for you guys to each other? Go ahead. Is there anything you want to add to what's been said before we move on? yes. No worries. I think we've all, been through resiliency. One of the things I want to highlight to people, okay, this is a global situation. None of us have experienced it before. True that. But if you think about your own journey in life, all the ups and downs, and when one of my last live streams, I talked about how my friend often says, my friend Leonie says, if you turn that on the side, it's like a winding river, right? We've all been through ups and downs in life, but let's think of it more as a winding river, a journey that we learn from. We've all had to be resilient. We've all had to dust ourselves off, to really stand our ground, to say we were wrong. Like, these are the things of a leader. These are the features of a leader. We are all leaders in our own life. We are literally CEOs usually of our own business. And I feel like this is the time, to remember, if you don't feel resilient, it's like to connect with a time when you were, even it has nothing to do with business. We all have resiliency in us for sure. Lena is joining us. She says, can you summarize tip number 1? No, I cannot, honey. You can watch the replay. No, I will be doing show notes. Lena is so amazing. She actually has a business called Eco Made Easy, Make Eco Easy. I helped her create the name, and now I can't remember it. But it is basically helping people make eco easy. So I love that. So no, Lena, I will actually be making it easy for you. I'll be doing some show notes, putting up the replay on my website, and also it's live right now on YouTube. But we will do a little recap at the end, definitely. All right, let's go to tip number.
Natalie?
Yes, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say, to the point of what you were saying, in 2015, when I started my business, I was going through a lot of change and turmoil. I had gotten fired from my job. And so creating my own business was out of, resiliency and thinking, okay, well, who do I need to be? What do I need to do in this moment? And I went through so much in 2015. I was going through a lot of inner work and a lot of external things. And so when this all hit, and as well as one of my other friends, we kind of were joking to each other. We're like, pandemic, this is easy. We've already been through something like this.
Mm-hmm.
We already have the experience. We already know how to pivot. We already know how to be resilient. We already know. And I think that I love that you said that, because I think that everyone has an experience in their life, a challenge that they've overcome, that they had to root in, that they had to really lean on their faith, and they had to really rely and take full ownership of their life and overcome it. And so that strength, that courage, that resiliency, I believe is within all of us,
Right.
Unless you're 1 year old, you've been through something that was challenging, And so it's really tapping into that resource to support yourself in this time right now, and knowing that I keep calling it a plandemic, because I believe as souls, as spirits, we've chosen to be here in this time right now. And so we knew it was going to happen. And so being that we knew it was going to happen, we have the tools and resources within us to get through it, and it's just about having the courage to go inward and tap into that.
Yes, totally. I love that phrase. I wrote it down, plandemic. Amazing. All right, let's go to Natalie for her second tip. I know, Natalie, you talk a lot. You actually are a speaker as well, and you talk about the future of work. So I'd love to either hear about that or your other thing that you do at the moment, which is, of course, be paid to be you. So wherever you want to go with your tip, but I love the things that you're focusing on. I think they're really helpful for people.
Yeah, I have to say I did a really poor job of introducing myself. So thanks to you two for showing how it's done. I think I just went straight into the tip. So yeah, I've been a business coach and a business owner for 10 or 11 years. And when I started out way back, a little bit speaking to what Malaine said, there's so many turbulent times that you go through as an entrepreneur when you're starting your business and even running it and growing it, that I do feel you develop resiliency pretty quickly if you can separate your ego from the results that are there. And that wasn't actually my next tip, but I think it's really important, because otherwise you attach so many of your failures and upsets and screw ups to yourself versus just an outcome or a result where you can actually learn a lot from it. So yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to help people look at what are your skills, your life experience, your practical experience, and the things that you love so much that people are going to pay you for, and how do you monetize all those good things, your sweet spot, into products, services, courses, speaking, books, whatever it may be that allows you to get paid to be you. And a little bit like Malaine said as well, having multiple revenue streams is just so key in this time, just because if anything does fall flat, you've got those options. But The tip for me in resilience, and I've been through this a lot, like I've pivoted in the past, I've started a new business or several new businesses, is actually having this beautiful outlook and reframing on what possibility awaits, what magic awaits. And I've been sitting in that a lot over the last 4 weeks, because when this all started, I could see so many people just literally going for blame and shame and scaremongering versus, okay, every single recession we've had, every crisis, every depression, there have been incredible businesses that have come out of nowhere. In the last recession, Airbnb, Uber, and the previous ones, Burger King, Disney World, Apple, Microsoft. I mean, when you actually look at the list of all these businesses that have absolutely thrived during a recession, to me, that means while some things may never be the same again, and that's pretty certain, there are so many things that are going to change for the better, and that we're going to have all these opportunities to step into. So thinking about the future of work, I'm pretty excited right now, because when we started Nat, and for everybody here, being online, running your business online was like a pipe dream to so many people, and they just didn't get it. They didn't understand how you could coach and teach and train from Zoom, or use online platforms to run your business, or simply run it from a laptop and Wi-Fi around the world. And now that everybody's actually experiencing that through remote working, through being at home, I finally feel like the pennies drop for people, that anything is possible. You literally can run your business and livelihood from a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection with all the tools out there. And so it is a chance for you to pivot and step into what have you always wanted to do, and how can you do that more than ever, and what trends can you look at, what industries are popping up, what new businesses are popping up right now to deal with what we're going through that were not even possible before. So I just really love sitting in that what possibility awaits, or what magic awaits, because it absolutely helps you reframe in your head to go from sort of a victim mentality, like woe is me, to a place of resourcefulness and what is possible. And I know it's not always easy, but I feel if you start the day off with asking that question, it really does set the motion for every other thing that you do throughout the day to come from a place of what's possible, if you just remain open to it.
Yes, love that. And so that's the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And I love that you mentioned the blaming and shaming, because I know a lot of people will, especially those that are more fixed mindset, lapse into the naming, blaming, shaming, and complaining side of life or business or whatever. It's just what they do. And it's like, you got to pull yourself out of that, and you got to look at, what opportunities are out there. I'll jump in with one of my tips. And being a Kiwi, I'm a Canadian Kiwi. I know that Malaine is American, so she might get this. We're a little bit more put yourself out there. So I know that here in New Zealand, we have a little tall poppy situation going on. And so one of the things I do, I always say, is I love working with people who are ready to shine. Like, I use those words. They just might not know how. And I say things like, I drag people up on stage with me. But I think, Natalie, good point. Some people, they might be like, okay, you know what? I don't know if I'm ready to shine, but I know now's the time to get online, to be more visible, to put myself out there, even though it feels scary because of perfection or whatever's going on. But it really is the time to be more visible. But I'll say this, if you don't feel ready for people to see you and hear you and to come across either educational or inspirational, take time for you, for sure, right? So it's like, make sure you look after number one. And don't feel like you should be more visible unless you want to be more visible. And that's the highlight point that I really want to make. At least you guys know I'm allergic to the word should, or I try to be. And so I feel like people, I don't want them feeling like I should do more Facebook Lives. But if you want to do more Facebook Lives or Zoom calls or whatever, these things we're talking about, then get in touch with us. We can help you to up your brave and put yourself out there. But if you feel like you should and you don't want to, then just take care of yourself. That's my tip for now. For sure. All right, Malaine, let's go to you on your tip number 2.
There's like so much I want to say to you guys, and I love what you mentioned, Natalie. Just to like kind of piggyback off that a little bit, is that I keep saying to everyone that these are the times that people create these amazing ideas, and that people go to the next level in their finances. These are the times that you're squeezed so hard that who you really are comes out, right? And you're forced to get creative, and you're forced to really think outside of the box. And that's when these like amazing ideas are birthed. I didn't realize Airbnb and Uber were birthed right around the last recession, which is so cool that I just learned something new today. But I've been saying this, like, now is the time. Like, now is the time when when wealth can be brought to the next level for yourself, and you can, you know, have a service come through you that will change the game for the world. So it is really exciting times. And what I really want to say is now is the time to really also go inward and to create deeper levels of resiliency within, but also to really get clear on what gets to go and what you need to start doing to support your growth, right? Because I was saying last year in 2019, like 2020 is going to be an amazing year if you've done the inner work, which doesn't mean like if you haven't done the inner work that, you know, now you're at a disadvantage. But it does mean that if you have been working on yourself, that now is your time to really shine and go out there, because you're going to be able to navigate this with ease. And if you haven't, then now is the time to really go inward and to really work on yourself. I mean, we're at home, so there's a lot of time going on right now. There's a lot of time that you can go inward and support yourself in getting clear on what are you available for? What are you no longer available for? What no longer works in your life? What do you want to start working on in your life? And just really prioritizing yourself right now, right? And getting clear on what needs to be nourished, what needs to change, what needs to shift. And it's kind of like a reset button, right? And I always say, what goes on outside is what's going on inside, internally, right? And so it's like really getting clear on what needs to be changed, what changes need to happen, what growth needs to happen. And then from there, once you kind of have a clear picture of like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I want to create in my life, then, you know, start taking the actions externally, because now is the time for the reset button. And it's like, okay, yeah, like, you know, we're going back to work, whatever that looks like for people. Do you even want to? Do you even want to? Because now is your chance to figure out what it is you really want. Like, take advantage of this opportunity. I say to people, this can be, and this is the launch pad that so many of you have been praying for. Now is the time to use it to spring off into a new life by design and no longer by default.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know you're home with a young one. How old's your littlest?
Yes. So I have a 4-month-old and I have a 2-year-old. And I say to people, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, exactly, because people will come up with all the reasons. But again, I think you're right about, you know, a lot of people will be like, wow, like my husband's like, wow, I didn't realize how hard it was to work while trying to make sure the kids do their schoolwork. I find it really hard hopping from this to that. And I'm like, welcome to my world, you know, right? But
Exactly.
I'm used to it, and that my personality is also can cater to that more. But I've done that already for 13 years, like trying to work alongside looking after them. But for him, you know, so some people I think will realize like they actually like being home more. And it's like, wow, I actually don't want to go back, you know, 5 days a week in the office. I want to do 2 days at home. Like people will start really stepping into being the CEO of their own life, which I'm excited about too. Grant, I'm going to go to you for your next insight or tip for us.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nat. Gosh, the messages here are just so relevant, I think, for everyone, and not only with the current lockdown, but beyond that as well. The messages around authenticity are so critical for us if we want to be perceived and to take a business forward. The only way to do it is to do it from a really authentic place. You know, at the moment, Jacinta is talking to us a lot about the message of being kind to each other. And I think that's important not only from a personal point of view, but also from a business point of view. People are going to be looking at how businesses behave during this time. And I think we'd all agree that businesses, from a cash flow and a relationship point of view, have got some different options. And I think it's important that people think about the fact that their reputation and how they behave during this time for others is going to be a critical component of how people will treat them once we're through this pivot and people are working forwards on the new normal. So thinking about your reputation, being kind, understanding the type of person from an individual point of view, but also the type of business and the type of values that you want to project. Now's really the time to hone in on those and make them crystal clear, because that will be the differentiator for you as you not only, you know, survive this time, but also move forwards from there as well. And I think that's really important for all of us, both in personal and in business. Look out for your reputation.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you offer, you know, that your I guess your genius or your gift, like me, you're a connector, which I love. I love people that introduce people to each other, because I do think collaboration and co-opetition is super key, and particularly right now. But I know that you've got a couple businesses that you're helping them to kind of shine, like you're promoting them, because some people just don't like promoting themselves. Like, it's really uncomfortable. So if they can find someone like you or me or whatever to do it for them or to help them, it just makes it a little bit easier. And they do have to be a bit more flexible, or at least put their hand up, especially at times like this. Definitely.
Yeah, it makes such an amazing difference. And we all know that we come from different areas of the spectrum with different strengths. And so learning for each other what those strengths are and how to play off each other and build each other together is so critical in business. So yeah, it's a great point.
Hey, you just reminded me of something that I really want to highlight. I love Brene Brown. I also love Mel Robbins, by the way. But Brene Brown talks a lot about how do we armor up in times of challenge, right? How do we armor up? And so some people will quit. Like, they'll go like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm out. Other people will go head in the sand. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to look at my taxes. They'll kind of bury their head. And this isn't just business. This is human nature. Other people will be like, get out of my way. I'll just do it myself. So that's me. So when I get pressured, I'll be like, okay, I'll just do it like I always do. So it has that air of animosity if I don't come back to center and really go, okay, what am I trying to achieve? So what we want to do is be proactive and positive. But what we do as humans is we sometimes default into these different ways that we armor up. So what I want to highlight to people is just maybe take a moment to think about how you armor up in times of pressure, and also thinking about your strengths as well. So for example, some people, their strength might be input, right? So they would love to learn. They love reading all the articles, listening to all the news and all the things. Well, when you're pressured, your strength that goes into overdrive becomes a weakness. So if you're someone that loves input, you're going to be consuming all the Facebook feed, all the news articles, all the everything, or trying to learn, but not taking action probably, or getting overwhelmed because you're like so much knowledge. So I think I wanted to highlight this in terms of life resilience, is just being aware that when we're pressured, our strength can go into overdrive and become our weakness. So it's a matter of awareness of that and just kind of, evening things out. I don't know if that's helpful for people, but it's something I wanted to highlight. Thank you so much, Simone Denny's great wisdom being shared. Thank you so much for joining us.
Can I add to that, Nat?
Go ahead.
Is that right now, I think the sources that you are taking in, as you just said, can be really critical to how you show up and think. So really minimizing the amount of negative news, fake news, Facebook feeds, people's opinions, etc. It's really, really dangerous. Actually, I've chatted to quite a few people who just got taken into that rabbit hole, and it changed their whole view on how they were coping with the situation. But on the flip side, I think what is really important to do right now, and thinking about what you just said, because I'm also a little bit like, let's take action, let's go, let's do it, is I've been stepping up a lot more to listen and ask people, versus just assume that I know what they're feeling or what they want right now, or being in my mode of everything's actually really positive and we can take so many good things out of this. So just listening. A lot of people are talking and sharing and speaking and going live like crazy, which is great because I want them to be visible. But also, I don't know if enough people are just stepping back to listen to what people are actually saying. And I'm not talking about the people who may be moaning or scaremongering. I'm talking about the people who are just genuinely wanting to speak and connect and share. So I think it's really important to listen right now and know then how you could support people better, rather than kind of having these assumptions that people are in one state or the other. Sort of, I just think it's really important.
Also on that, listening to yourself, because I think what happens, especially with the input, is they're listening to everybody else's opinions. And so like we said, this is a time to just think, like really take stock of what you, like listen to your own thoughts, not just filling your head with everybody else's blog articles and Facebook lives and all the things.
Totally. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a question that I keep asking myself and coming back to like ground and center and get aligned is, what do I need to do today to nourish me? What do I need to do today to take care of Malaine, to nourish me? And that might look like, not going on social media. That might look like, unplugging for the day. That might look like, going live a couple times. That might look like, doing a bunch of Facebook posts or whatever. And so it's like, what do I need to do to nourish me? What do I need to do to nourish my business? What do I need to do to nourish my clients? And I keep bringing my clients back to that too, when they're getting like scattered. It's like, okay, what's one action you can take in this moment to just nourish yourself? And then from there, like when my cup is full, then I'm in a better space to be like, okay, what can I do to nourish my business today? what can I do to nourish my family? Because if I'm like, you know, then it doesn't matter. And I love what you guys were saying too, that it's like really important. There's so much coming at us right now, and people online, I just read a statistic that the people being online has increased by 30%, right? Because everyone's home. And so that means we are ingesting a lot more, which is great for business owners, because if you're online, your visibility is going to be reaching, you know, a larger audience. But it also means that a lot of us are taking in a lot, like you guys were saying. So it's just being mindful of like what you're taking in. So what I say like is, if it doesn't nourish me, if it doesn't feel good, then I simply either like delete, unfollow, whatever I need to do without any judgment, because this is about creating a world that feels good for me. And when I'm in that place, I can create a world for other people that is also, you know, of like, you know, so just wanted to add that.
I'm going to take your question to the masses. And if people want to comment in the chat box or in the comment below with the replay, what is one thing you're going to do to nourish? I love that word that you're using, either yourself or your business, depending on what feels right to you, based on some of the things that we've brought up today. So Lena, quick little recap. You know, we talked a little bit about focusing on what you can do and what you can control. That's what Natalie mentioned at the start. Then Malaine talked a little bit about staying in solution rather than focusing on all the problems and things. Grant talked about pivoting fast. We talked about a lot of other things too. But just to remind you, what is one thing that you can do to nourish, so it's got that positive vibe to it, either yourself, you're going, you know, I just like to look after number one, actually, you know, or to nourish your business so that you can be more resilient. Love that. We'll go to Grant. I would love to wrap up. Any final thoughts, and how can people reach out to you? I think a couple of you had a little special thing that you wanted to mention and offer or something. So we'll go to you, Grant, for that. How can people find you online, and what have you got?
Yeah, sure. So we're pretty active on Meetup. So if you are on the Meetup platform, just jump in and search for Auckland Business Strategy. You'll find us, or just go to businessstrategy.nz. And I think Natalie's going to share a link with a special debrief video from today. If anyone's interested in kind of jumping on to find a little bit more about what we do. Fundamentally, we are a platform for business owners to share what they're passionate about with other like-minded owners and to build business together. So that's great. Look, I think that we're going to exit this, and we've talked about this during the course of the call. We're going to exit this situation into a new normal. And the new normal is going to incorporate business practices that we haven't had before, some that we did, and some are going to drop away. So we're on the call. I think we're quite fortunate in that each one of us have got some quite diversified businesses, and we're very aware also that many people are not in that situation. So finding that new normal, making changes that may in some cases be quite hard, but then to settle into that new way of doing things as fast as possible, it's probably going to be the least disruptive for yourself as a person, for your business employees if you've got them, and for your family around you. So getting back into that is great. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to landing in that new normal and moving forward with it as New Zealand exits the lockdown. Yeah, so thank you very much for having me today. Just a few quick thoughts, and looking forward to some of the comments from the session.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm excited to do my thing, which is when we are allowed to get back together in person. And by the way, I'm in no rush. Like when they say the kids can go to school, I'll be like, not yet. So I'm in no rush. But when the time comes, I'm really excited to connect you guys specifically in person together as well. I'm just going to go to some comments. So Ellie Bambury says she's going to observe more of what my audience are posting on social media so that I can tap into what they're thinking about right now. And I know I'm posting content that is helpful to them while also in alignment with my goals and message. That is so spot on with many things we covered today. Getting the thumbs up over here. And then Lena, she's nourishing herself by allocating time for herself in her diary, making an appointment for myself. You got to do it. Like I literally used to write drink water in my calendar so that I would stay hydrated. So you really have to focus on yourself. By the way, Lena, lovely dinner photos. I saw you and the family did a dress up dinner and they put it on Facebook. Very cute.
That's cool.
All right, Natalie, where can people find you, and any final comments?
Yeah, and this has just been such a great conversation, and it actually reminds me that I would like to go live in my Facebook page with meaning and share some of the goodness from here, and or share this, because I think this is really important topic, super important, and not just for right now in a pandemic, but any time in business when you feel like things are going a little bit tough. how to innovate, how to stay fresh, how to stay in control, how to focus on nurturing you, and yeah, just how to make the most of any situation. So if people are curious about, maybe they've lost some of their business revenue right now, or they're wanting to look at other options of how they can actually monetize themselves, I'd love it if they came across to nataliesisson.com/get-paid. Actually, it's on the homepage as well, but it is a audio where I talk you through how you can actually get paid to be you, and a workbook to help you work through that. And I find I do this every 3 to 6 months for myself, because there's always nuggets of wisdom that come out of actually reflecting and looking at all the things that make you unique and how you can basically use that to your advantage and help others.
Now, I know you're writing a book at the moment, because I'm doing your Write the Damn Book course with you. So tell us a little bit about your book, just so that we can know.
Should I put on my tiara? Thanks for that, Job. Yeah. It's called, it's so crooked. It's called Suck It Up, Princess, which is so not a sort of a title that I normally would have gone with, but actually it's come out of being more resilient, and it is all about real life strategies to get out of your own way and be the heroine of your own life. And I was actually just writing a chapter on resilience, which was great preparation for this, because I just think it's so, so important. So yeah, and we're writing it together, Nat. It's good.
Yeah, we're side by side. It's so funny. Whenever I introduce you, and I didn't do it, but I'm going to do it. Natalie and I met for the first time. I think that I interviewed her for my podcast in her car, in the rain, in Devonport, and I always remember that. So you guys, take action, and I think that whatever you're doing, definitely make sure it's aligned with what you want to be doing. And sometimes you do need to suck it up, princess, for sure. All right, Malaine, let's go to you.
No, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I'm actually working on a book too, the name to be revealed. But yeah, you guys can find me at MalaineLea.com, or any handle, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's all Malaine Lea. And I did have a special offer that I gave to Natalie. So if you guys grab that link from her, but I also want to share that next week I have a workshop that I'm doing that is all about going live and going online. So if you're looking to create a business and go online, if your business isn't online and you want to go online and have that capability, that access as another stream of revenue, it's going to be an awesome workshop next week. So you can either reach out to Natalie or myself to get access to that, and I'll make sure that you get the VIP rollout. And awesome. Yeah, so great to be here today, you guys.
Thank you so much. I see that Celia Hogan said, great chat. Celia was on my show last week, and she also then, she's in my Amplify membership. She also then, we got her a radio interview, and she was interviewed on the radio on her topic, her area of expertise, which is getting kids outside. She believes that children should be outside for nature time 3 hours a day, not just in lockdown, all the time. And she actually was interviewed on that, about the value of nature for mental health for kids. So that's just so amazing. I love seeing people getting their message out, because I don't want to do everything by myself. What I like doing is shining the light on people like you guys, getting your message out, because what you're saying is super crucial. So for those of you that are thinking, okay, that's great for you guys, you all have multiple revenue streams, I just have one thing. I want to highlight to those people that are listening, you can create something digital, create it once, sell it often, right? Something small. One of the things we're doing in my membership at the moment is something $29, the no-brainer price point or below. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be yours. Like if you can say, hey, Natalie, your thing sounds great. Hey, Malaine, your thing sounds great. I'd love to be an affiliate. So having an affiliate product or program that is completely aligned with your values, your audience, you love it, you believe in it, there's no reason why you can't promote that, and that can be an additional revenue stream. So I wanted to throw that out there in case people are going, oh, great, now I have more to do. Now I've got to create some other program. You don't. You can just find someone else's program if it's aligned and if you truly believe in it, add it to your repertoire. So just wanted to throw that out there to you guys. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. It's been totally amazing as always. We never really know what's going to come up, but we do know that hopefully people are going to walk away feeling inspired and feeling like they've got not just more information, but more action steps that they can take if they want to be more, hopefully today, to be more resilient in their business and their life. So thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And we'll see you next time on the Up Your Brave live stream. And until then, remember to up your brave, say what you want, and make it happen. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.